Static hum surges wild, wild. Voices crash like thunder smiles. We dive into the madness quake. Super Gringo set to break. Worlds on fire, cables melt. Desperate words, the truth they spell. Through the chaos we blast fears, burning bright, no time to pierce. Welcome to the Super Gringo. Madness, love we never slow. Tune in, let your spirit scream. We shatter through the mainstream. Dust of lies in your face. Rip apart this broken place. Microphones and bitter nights. We turn the dark into light. Feel the pulse, electric beats. Riding high on discord streets. Voices raw and vision stark. Super Gringo leaves its mark. Echoes just through neon lights. We ride the storm, fight the fight. Tales untold, we break them free. Super Gringo, wild and free. Welcome to the Super Gringo. Madness, love we never slow. Tune and let your spirit scream. We shatter through the mainstream. Welcome to the Super Gringo. Madness, love we never slow. Tune and let your spirit scream. We shatter through the mainstream. Dust of lies in your face. Rip apart this broken place. Microphones and bitter nights. We turn the dark into light. Dust of lies in your face. Rip apart this broken place. Microphones and bitter nights. We turn the dark into light. Feel the pulse, electric beats. Riding high on discord streets. Voices raw and vision stark. Super Gringo leaves its mark. Echoes to the Super Gringo.
All right, folks, gather round. If you tuned into last week's podcast marathon, also known as the longest episode since the dawn of time, you might agree it was a bit of a slog. But hey, we're all about growth here. Think of this as my personal journey from chaotic ranting to more refined intellectual pursuit. It's like watching a caterpillar transform into a butterfly, minus the whole metamorphosis thing, and hopefully with fewer awkward moments. So, let's talk about that epic journey through last week's verbal endurance test. I mean, who knew that an hour could feel like 3? So that show felt like 5 hours. Here are some key takeaways from the chaos. Overloaded thoughts. I read too much non-essential stuff. Unplanned rants. I didn't have any. That was kind of a good thing, I guess. Now let's get serious for a moment. Enter scripting, my new best friend. Writing things down has been revolutionary for me. I get to organize my thoughts, no more rambling. Clarity and focus helps me keep my message on point. Less cursing, more intellect, less sailor. As we embark on this quest together for podcast perfection, I genuinely hope this episode sounds like a breath of fresh air compared to last week's experience. Feedback is key. Is it getting better? Your opinion matters. Am I turning into fine wine, or am I like old milk? And guess what? If you've got Skype, and let's face it, who doesn't these days, you can join our lively chat room. The link is in the description below. Come on over. Let's make this a two-way conversation instead of just me talking. So there you have it, the evolution from chaos to clarity in my podcast journey. Remember, 1, scripting equals less chaos. 2, your feedback equals essential growth. And 3, join me equals fun conversation. Just so everyone knows, we're also on Spotify. The link is in the description. Now, you see the box on the right of your screen? That's Skype. That's where you can call in. Just click the link that's in the chat. It will take you to the room, and you can let your voice be heard through Skype on this podcast. You can do video. You can do just audio. It depends on if you turn on the camera or not.
My check may be government, but it ain't welfare. Earned it with years and a lot of wear and tear. Old Sarge used to holler, son, stand tall and true. Now my uniform's retired, but my pride's brand new. Morning coffee at the diner, stories to share. Folks thinking I'm rolling, but I just grin and stare. There's a medal in my drawer, collecting dust. Served my country right, now it's my bank I trust. They say, man, you're living high on the hog, but I tell them it's a different kind of job. Not lounging in an office, pushing a pen. I was rolling through the mud for Uncle Sam back then. Got a garden in the back where tomatoes grow. Fishing down at the creek when the daylight's low. Neighbors wave as they drive by, honking their horn. I was rolling through the mud for Uncle Sam back then. Got a garden in the back where tomatoes grow. Fishing down at the creek when the daylight's low. Neighbors wave as they drive by, honking their horn. I'm content with my pension, let their wheels keep torn. Old Glory waves from my front porch rail. Remember friends I lost, every single tale. They may see a check, but can't measure the cost of the soldiers' hearts and the battles we crossed. So here's to the veterans still standing strong, and to those memories that from us belong. We might cash that check, but we paid it in blood for the red, white, and blue, and the land that we love. So here's to the veterans still standing strong, and to those memories that from us belong. We might cash that check, but we paid it in blood for the red, white, and blue, and the land that we love. We love.
Hey there, everyone. Have you ever found yourself misunderstood? Maybe someone thought you were getting something for nothing when you actually worked your tail off for it. Well, today we're diving into a topic that hits home for many veterans. My benefits and why they're not welfare. So buckle up. This is going to be an eye-opener.
Let me tell you about this gem I found. It's called Tactical Training with Firearms. The author, Sean Armstrong, has been through it all. He breaks down self-defense like a pro. You'll learn real techniques to keep you safe. Trust me, You want these skills in your back pocket. The book emphasizes training under stress. I was shocked to find out how we revert in chaos. This book helps you level up your responses. It's not just a read, it's a game changer. I feel so much more prepared now. Do yourself a favor and grab this book ASAP.
First off, let's clear the air. Many folks equate my GI Bill with those student loan forgiveness programs buzzing around lately. But here's the kicker. The GI Bill isn't a handout. It's a benefit, earned through years of service and sacrifice. What if I told you that these benefits are actually an investment in your future? Veterans benefits include pensions, health care, education assistance, and more. They're designed to support those who served our country and made sacrifices for national defense. Many people mistakenly or spitefully categorize my pension as welfare. But let's break it down. Welfare is typically a safety net for those in need. Pensions are earned through service. My pension reflects years of dedication and training, not handouts. It took me 23 years to get my pension. As a non-commissioned officer trained to break stuff, you're paying me not to do what I was trained to do. You're investing in peace. You sent me to college so I can learn skills beyond breaking things, skills that contribute positively to society. The government invests heavily in training soldiers like me. By providing a pension, they ensure that we don't return to destructive roles. Investing in veterans means investing in stability within communities. When you see a veteran receiving benefits, remember, they've earned it through sacrifice. Isn't this just another form of government spending? No, it's compensation for services rendered. Why should taxpayers support veterans? Because they protect our freedoms and make sacrifices many will never understand. Veterans benefits are not welfare. They're an investment made by society into those who have sacrificed so much for safety and freedom. The GI Bill helps veterans transition into civilian life. It provides financial support for education and training. And then there's my military pension. Some people think it falls under welfare assistance. Nope. This pension is compensation for my dedication and sacrifices during service. Welfare programs are temporary assistance. Military benefits are compensation reflecting commitment. Serving in the military isn't just about wearing the uniform. It demands immense physical courage and emotional resilience. Long deployments, emotional tolls like post-traumatic stress, it's not a disorder. Now let's talk about navigating these benefits. It can feel like running an obstacle course blindfolded. Confusing eligibility criteria. Expiration dates on certain programs. 10 years for the GI Bill after receiving your notice of basic eligibility. For many veterans, student loan debt feels like an anchor weighing them down. Programs like public service loan forgiveness are available but come with stipulations. You have to work for a qualifying employer, and only specific repayment plans count towards forgiveness. Patience is key here. Remember, you may not be in the military. These programs are still run by the same government. If you ever feel undervalued for serving your country, you're not alone. Many face challenges accessing hard-earned benefits. Reach out to fellow veterans or organizations for support. Connect with veteran organizations. Advocate for change within communities. Empowerment starts here. So remember, folks, your sacrifice matters deeply, not just to you, but also to society as a whole. If you found value in this video or know someone who might benefit from this information, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. For messaging, you can call in on Skype, leave a message in chat, or leave a comment below. The link to Skype is in the description. Let's hear what you think.
Think of a ballot, broken clocks, lost in the streets, count the blocks. Voices muffled, hands in chains. Where's the will to break these reins? Stadiums roar, but not for rights. Lost in the streets, count the blocks. Voices muffled, hands in chains. Where's the will to break these reins? outcasts are flee. Stand together, don't you see? Lions hung with empty vows. Powers grip, silent growls. Shout out loud, let them hear. Change the song, change the gear. Raise your fist, mark the page. Punch a hole, break the cage. Freedom screams from every mouth. East lands, west, north to south. Raise your fist, mark the page. Punch a hole, break the cage. Freedom screams from every mouth. East lands, west, north to south. North to south. North to south.
Hey there, fellow citizens. As we gear up for another election season, let me ask you this. Are we really voting responsibly? Or are we just playing along in a political circus where logic sometimes takes a coffee break? Today we're diving into why your vote matters more than ever, especially when it comes to choosing representatives who will shape our future. So grab your popcorn because this is going to be quite the ride.
Awaken the warrior within you. Every woman deserves to feel strong, confident, and prepared. Join renowned martial artist Sean Armstrong in Warrior's Path, the epic journey of modern karate. A compelling 4-book series dedicated to empowering women through karate, history, and philosophy await you. Book 1 reveals invaluable lessons from martial arts masters throughout history. Essential self-defense techniques. With books 2 and 3, you'll master critical skills, from colored belt basics to brown belt strategies. Become an expert. Book 4 guides you through advanced concepts leading up to black belt mastery. It's time to invest in yourself. Become fearless in any situation. Take action now. Grab your series today and start crafting your own warrior's path.
First up, let's talk about the bizarre paradox we find ourselves in. Remember that candidate who had some serious cognitive questions raised during his campaign? Well, now there's a push to support the woman who lost to him. It's like cheering for the runner-up in a potato sack race after they both ended up in mashed potatoes. This isn't just funny, it reflects how our choices can sometimes feel more like a scene from a sitcom than serious decision-making. What do you think? Is this absurdity making you rethink your voting strategy? Call in or let us know in chat. Now, let's get serious for a moment. Your vote is so much more than just a piece of paper. It's your voice, a tool for change. When you cast that ballot, you're shaping policies that affect your life and community. You're participating actively in democracy. But here's the kicker. Responsible voting isn't just about showing up at the polls. It's about being informed. So how do we become informed voters? Here's some tips. Research candidates. Understand their platforms and past actions. Know local issues. Dive into how proposed laws impact your community. Think education funding or health care access. Stay updated on voting rights. Know what you're entitled to can empower you at the polls. Remember, an informed voter is an empowered voter. Don't forget the conversations matter too. Engage with friends and family who may hold different views. These discussions can illuminate new angles on issues and enrich your perspective. Consider attending town halls or local forums. Share what you've learned, become part of creating an informed community. We're trying to do that with Grumpy Farmer. And remember, knowledge isn't just power, it's also contagious. Unfortunately, what I've found is no matter how informed you are, the uninformed don't want to be informed. I share information. I don't share my opinions. Take my opinion from the information I share. Here's where it gets intense. Elections can literally be decided by just a handful of votes. Each one carries significant weight. By exercising your right to vote, you're affirming your beliefs. You're contributing to decisions that will impact future generations. So when you step into that booth this year, do so with intention. In conclusion, folks, responsible voting starts with you. This election season, arm yourself with knowledge and make sure every choice reflects not only your values, but those of your community as well. So before you head out to vote, 1. Educate yourself on candidates and measures. 2. Discuss issues openly with others. And most importantly, make that powerful voice heard. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, don't forget to like, share it with friends, and subscribe for more insights into navigating our crazy political landscape. And hey, what are your thoughts on responsible voting? Drop them below. We'd love to hear from you. Call in on Skype, leave a message in chat.
Morning sun, it rises on our fields of golden grain, but the banker's got his hands on everything we claim. Tractors sit in silence, rust on every wheel. We're losing more than just our land, we're losing what is real. Daddy's hands are calloused, mama's eyes are worn. They gave her all for this old farm where we were born. But the seasons change too fast, bills are piling high. We're counting every penny, but the wells run dry. We're losing ground, losing hope. Fields of dreams turn into dust can't cope. Every acre, every tree was home to us. Now it's just a memory. Neighbors lost their acres, sold off bit by bit. Now they work in factories, trying hard to fit. Sunday church feels emptier. Faces we once knew are packing up their lives, moving somewhere new. Even by the bonfire, stories still get told, but the laughter feels like echoes of the days of old. Children's eyes reflect a future that ain't bound by soil. Wonder if they'll understand the beauty of this tour. We're losing ground, losing hope. Fields of dreams turn into dust can't cope. Every acre, every tree was home to us. Now it's just a memory. Losing hope. Fields of dreams turn into dust can't cope. Every acre, every tree was home to us. Now it's just a memory. Now it's just a memory. Now it's just a memory.
Did you know that American crop prices have taken a nosedive recently? It's a shocking turn of events that could impact not just farmers, but everyone who eats. What does this mean for your grocery bill and the economy at large? Stick around as we unravel the mystery behind these plummeting prices and what it means for all of us.
Yo, have you guys heard about this book? It's called The Magic of Long Range Shooting and it's fire. You want to hit those long shots? Mindset is key. Sean Armstrong breaks it down like a boss in this book. Ballistics, baby. This book covers all that math stuff. We're talking ballistic coefficients and firing positions. Get those numbers right and watch your accuracy soar. Wind can mess you up real quick, trust me. Learn how to read the wind like a pro in this gem. This dude was a sniper in the army, so you know it's legit. Get those street smart tips straight from Sean himself.
In recent months, key crops like corn, soybeans, and wheat have seen price drops exceeding 20%. Farmers are feeling the pinch. Many depend on stable prices to plan their planting cycles. With uncertainty looming, how will they adapt? Rising costs for seeds, fertilizers, and fuel are squeezing margins. Many may be forced to scale back operations or exit farming altogether. Lower crop prices might seem like good news. Who doesn't like cheaper groceries? But hold on. If farmers can't sustain their businesses, supply could dwindle, leading to higher prices down the line. Agriculture supports millions of jobs and contributes significantly to GDP. When crop prices fall, local businesses suffer from reduced sales. Job losses ripple through related industries like transportation and food processing. Changing weather patterns are wreaking havoc on yields. Fluctuating global demand for major importers like China adds more uncertainty. And oversupply due to previous high prices has outstripped current demand. You might think lower farm gate values would lead directly to cheaper groceries, but it's not that simple. Retailers may keep prices high for profit margins. Supply chain issues can prevent savings from reaching consumers. Have you ever wondered how rising prices at the grocery store impact the farmers who grow your food? Today, we're diving deep into the topic that affects not just farmers, but all of us. How inflation impacts those who toil in the fields. Spoiler alert, it's more complicated than you might think. First up, let's talk about increased input costs. Inflation drives up prices for essential farming inputs like seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and fuel. This means that every time a farmer heads to the supply store, they're facing higher bills. This rise in costs directly eats into their profits and makes maintaining profitability a real struggle. But it doesn't stop there. Inflation also reduces real income, essentially eroding purchasing power. When living costs rise faster than what farmers earn, it becomes increasingly difficult for them to afford basic necessities or invest back into their farms. Next is uncertainty in pricing. With inflation comes price volatility in agricultural markets, making it hard for farmers to plan ahead or make informed investments. And let's not forget about debt burden. Many farmers rely on loans to finance their operations. As inflation reduces money value, repaying these loans becomes even tougher, creating a cycle of debt and financial instability. Now that we understand the challenges, let's explore some practical solutions. Diversifying crops can be a game changer. By producing various goods, farmers can buffer against inflation-related price fluctuations. Next up is improving efficiency. Investing in technology and optimizing resources can help offset rising input costs, leading to better productivity. Let's start with the elephant in the room, inflation. The government keeps telling us to invest, but what happens when they devalue our money? Here are some key points to consider. Devalued currency. When a dollar doesn't buy what it used to, investing becomes a losing game. Government spending. Remember that $1.9 trillion stimulus package? It was like throwing gasoline on an already roaring fire. Farmers are caught in a vicious cycle. They need to borrow money for better equipment or crop diversification, but end up deeper in debt. Debt cycle. As costs rise due to inflation, equipment upgrades, many farmers face tough decisions. Crop choices. With changing market demands and climate changes, hello fires in Brazil, farmers might have to pivot quickly. So, who's making all the money here? Spoiler alert, it's not the hard-working farmers or even your local grocer. Big government decisions. Policies from leaders can drastically affect prices at checkout. Market instability. With trade agreements affected by natural disasters abroad, expect fluctuations in coffee and sugar prices. Now let's talk about those helpful hints from the government aimed at keeping farmers afloat amid this chaos. Invest wisely. Look for grants or low-interest loans designed for efficiency improvements. 2. Diversify crops. Consider planting more resilient crops that can withstand climate changes. 3. Community support programs. Engage with local cooperatives for shared resources. And let's not forget elections have consequences. If we elect representatives who lack foresight, well, let's just say we're all feeling it at checkout. Stupid stuff happens isn't just a catchphrase, it reflects real-world implications. And don't underestimate government support programs. These can include subsidies for essential inputs and safety nets during tough times, helping shield farmers from income volatility. You know, those subsidies everyone complains about, all while complaining about the prices at the grocery market. Contract farming can provide stability through guaranteed markets, while effective financial planning helps manage risks, ensuring they don't fall into debt traps. Finally, investing in rural infrastructure and education empowers communities over improving overall economic well-being. How will farmers adapt? Diversifying crops could be one solution. Investing in sustainable practices is crucial for long-term resilience. So there you have it. The decline in American crop prices is a complex issue with far-reaching effects from our dinner plates to rural economies across the nation. Have thoughts or questions about these changes, how these changes affect you? Drop them into live chat, call in on Skype in the description, or leave comments below.
You see, blind to pain, pretending free. Radio plays a forgotten tune, whispered lies beneath the moon. Eyes wide shut, no need to know. Loving bliss as chaos grows. Ignorance is bliss, they say. The minds and waste away. Question nothing, drift along in the dark where we belong. We belong. Neon lights and vacant smiles, marching down these endless miles. Echoed silence ever strong in the void where we belong. Truth is buried deep below, in a world we'll never know. Comfort found in empty lies, close our eyes to silent cries. They say, numb the minds and waste away. Question nothing, drift along in the dark where we belong.
You ever found yourself in a debate that felt more like hitting a brick wall? One where every point you made was met with an unyielding counter that has no connection to reality? It's frustrating, isn't it? But what if I told you that these seemingly pointless arguments could actually be transformed into opportunities for growth and understanding? Today, we're diving deep into how we can turn ignorance into insight and make debates not just discussions, but enriching experiences. Ready to flip the script? Let's go. Grumpy and Jim sell hats and t-shirts.
Desperta o guerreiro que existe dentro de você. Toda mulher merece se sentir forte, confiante e preparada. Junte-se ao renomado artista marcial Sean Armstrong em Caminho do Guerreiro. A jornada épica do karatê moderno. Uma atraente série de 4 livros dedicada ao empoderamento das mulheres por meio do karatê. História e filosofia esperam por você. O livro 1 revela lições valiosas de mestres de artes marciais ao longo da história. Técnicas essenciais de autodefesa. Com os livros 2 e 3, você dominará habilidades críticas, desde noções básicas de faixa colorida até estratégias de faixa marrom. Torne-se um especialista. O livro 4 orienta você através de conceitos avançados que levam ao domínio da faixa preta. É hora de investir em si mesmo. Torne-se destemido em qualquer situação. Entre em ação agora. Pegue sua série hoje e comece a criar seu próprio caminho de guerreiro.
Grumpy and Jim sell hats and t-shirts. I write and sell books. We've all been there. Someone confidently tosses out talking points from mainstream media that we know are straight up propaganda. Debates often feel like battles to win or lose. This mindset leads to frustration and defensiveness. Instead of viewing conversations as confrontations, let's shift our approach. What if we responded with curiosity? Ask open-ended questions. That's interesting. Can you tell me about where you found that information? What makes you believe that? These questions not only diffuse tension but also encourage deeper exploration of the topic. It sounds simple, but listening is incredibly powerful when we truly listen. Engage deeply with what others express, unless they're talking about boys cutting off their, pay attention to the emotion behind their words. Imagine a colleague challenges your viewpoint in a meeting. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to listen fully. You might discover insights that enrich your perspective. Emotions can cloud judgment. In heated debates, take a pause and breathe deeply. Staying calm creates space for clarity. Helps think critically rather than react emotionally. And after the debate ends, don't forget to research those claims. I always do that. Assess arguments presented. Discover new insights through reputable sources. Finding a reputable source today is nearly impossible, not without having the ability to dig through the propaganda. To actually get to the truth, by law, the news has to tell the truth, or they can be sued. What they don't have to do is tell just the truth, without burying it in a bunch of propaganda. So you have to dig through it. You might find academic articles shedding light on nuances previously overlooked. Next week I'll talk about peer-reviewed articles. Engaging with differing viewpoints enriches your understanding. Seek conversations that challenge your beliefs. Foster critical thinking skills over time. Next time you're engaged in a heated debate, remember, it's not just about winning or losing, it's an opportunity for learning and mutual growth.
Shadows whisper in my ear. They know all my hidden fears. Circling round like vultures, drinking from my deepest tears. Voices echo through the night, telling me we're wrong is right. Dancing in the dark alone, a heart that's turned to stone. The enemy within is me, fighting what I'll never see. Waging reflections that I can't erase. Haunted by the silent screams, lost in this fever dream. The enemy within is me, fighting what I'll never see. Waging wars in plain disguise, lost in my own lies. Lost in my own lies. Shatter every broken chain, cut the ties that bleed in vain. In the night there's no reprieve, a shadow I can't leave. Lost in my own lies. Lost in my own lies.
You ever wondered how a single comment can ignite a firestorm of debate? In today's political climate, words carry weight, sometimes more than actions. Now, we're going to look into the heated discussion surrounding Tim Walz and Donald Trump's controversial remarks about enemies within our nation. What does it all mean for us? Stick around as we unpack the complex issue. Remember, Grumpy and Jim sell t-shirts and stickers. I write and sell books. Go buy a copy. The links are in the description.
In a world where threats can emerge unexpectedly, understanding firearms self-defense is crucial. Tactical training with firearms equips you with essential skills, from enhancing situational awareness to mastering mental discipline. Learn to choose the right concealed carry options and practice effective drills. With Sean Armstrong's expertise, empower yourself to face danger confidently and responsibly.
Let's set the stage. At a recent rally, Donald Trump hinted at using military force against those he labeled as enemies within. Who was he talking about? Contrary to what Tim Walz and the loony left would have you believe, he wasn't talking about everyday Americans. But what enemy is he referring to? The riots during the Summer of Love resulted in $2 billion in damages and claimed 25 lives. These aren't just statistics, they're communities shattered. Now let's turn to Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz. His response seemed to twist Trump's remarks, claiming he was referring to all Democrats who support Kamala Harris. Critics argue that his passive approach during Minnesota's unrest left residents feeling abandoned. Of course, as we now know, Tim Walz's wife enjoys the smell of burning tires, and of course, as soon as Tim Walz did deploy the National Guard, his daughter told the rioters when they were arriving. Tim Walz accused Trump of treason for wanting to use the military to quell these riots. I think his definition of treason and mine are quite different. Tim Walz also, in the same speech, brought up his military service and how proud he was to serve. So proud that he had to lie about his military service. Trump advocates for deploying the National Guard to restore order, a stance many believe is necessary when chaos reigns. But why do some feel more threatened by Republicans than by rioters themselves? It's easy to label entire groups with sweeping terms like fascist, especially when emotions run high in our polarized society. But let's pause for a moment and consider the reality. We, the so-called Trump supporters, didn't set fire to your businesses or wreak havoc in your neighborhoods. No, that destruction came from a different playbook, one rooted in chaos and violence, reminiscent of dark chapters in history that we must not forget. Take a moment to look up the Night of Broken Glass, or Kristallnacht, an orchestrated wave of brutality against Jewish communities in 1938 Germany that shattered lives and livelihoods alike. You might find it enlightening. This kind of historical reflection is crucial because it reminds us that real fascism isn't about differing political views. It's about oppression, violence, and systemic destruction. So let's keep our dialogue honest and grounded. Pointing fingers accomplishes nothing. And if we don't recognize where true threats lie in this turbulent era, We ought to stand together against any form of tyranny rather than allow labels to divide us further. The answer lies within how media narratives shape our perceptions. As we're focusing too much on political affiliations rather than addressing real issues affecting our communities. As we navigate these turbulent waters, clarity is essential. Understanding each perspective can help foster meaningful dialogue instead of division. In conclusion, political rhetoric often oversimplifies intricate realities. It's crucial that we look beyond headlines and consider their broader implications for our future. What are your thoughts on this topic? Do you think leaders should take more decisive action or promote dialogue? In my personal opinion, if you're burning down a neighborhood, occupying police stations, and killing people, the time for dialogue is over. By the way, little known fact by most people, arson is grounds for the use of lethal force in pretty much all 50 states. Just something to keep in mind. How does a governor's response to civil unrest define their political future? In the wake of George Floyd's tragic death, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz faced unprecedented challenges and criticism. As we approach the 2024 election cycle, the stakes are higher than ever. But is he being unfairly blamed for events that spiraled out of control on May 25th, 2020? George Floyd was arrested under tragic circumstances that would ignite a nationwide movement against police brutality. His death led to protests across Minneapolis, some peaceful, others violent. Key fact, the Minneapolis Police Department initially mischaracterized Floyd's death. He actually died of a fentanyl overdose. A quote from Mayor Frey: 4 officers involved were terminated. As protests escalated into chaos on May 27th, city officials were overwhelmed. Critical moment, Chief Madiria Arradonda calls Mayor Jacob Frey for help. I'm going to assume a black American. Frey reaches out to Walz, but his response was less than decisive. He said he would consider it. Mayor Frey, the deliberate delay in deploying the National Guard becomes a focal point for critics. $500 million in property damage, over 1,500 businesses affected, more than 160 fires reported. An October report claimed if Walz had acted sooner, many losses could have been avoided. As political tensions rose leading up to 2024 elections, accusations flew fast and furious. Senator J.D. Vance stated Tim Walz allowed rioters to burn down Minneapolis. Donald Trump claimed credit for calling in troops, a claim contradicted by facts. No, he pressured Walz to call in the troops. You called up big numbers, it was like bowling pins. Trump praises Walz after deployment of the National Guard. Walz defended his decision-making process during press briefings. He emphasized needing specifics before deploying troops. Highlighted experience from his time in the National Guard. I don't think the mayor knew what he was asking for, Walz said about Frey in August 4th, 2020 press briefing, according to press accounts. I think the mayor said, I requested the National Guard. Ooh, this is great. We're going to have massively trained troops. Walz. No, you're going to have 19-year-olds who are cooks. Tim Walz. In hindsight, many agree that communication breakdowns contributed significantly to how events unfolded. An independent review suggested inexperienced officials mishandled protocols. Protests began peacefully but quickly turned chaotic due to escalating tensions. So where does this leave Governor Walz as he gears up for a potential vice presidential run? With critics at every turn and historical scrutiny looming large over him, what will his legacy? What will be his legacy? Let us know your thoughts below. Was Tim Walz justified in his response, or did he falter when Minnesota needed him most? Chat is open, Skype is open, or you can leave a comment for later. I'm going to pause this here. Let me explain something about the National Guard. Obviously, Minnesota doesn't have sheriffs because, well, each state is different. But in New York State, most people don't know this, the sheriff has the authority to call out the National Guard. Of course, he has to get the governor's permission, but he can still do it. He can local units. He can't call them out outside his jurisdiction. Like he can't call New York, the 69th out of New York City to come up to like where Jim lives. But he can call out units that are within his jurisdiction in New York. I don't know about Minnesota. But Yeah, that's what Trump was talking about. If you riot, they're going to call out the military, the National Guard.
Sunrise in the fields, man. Creases on his face tough. Shovel in hand, no time for dreams. Life is hard, dirt, the rocks. Old barn falling apart now. Cows restless, he's shouting. Rain on the horizon, dark clouds cursing the sky's damn drought. Grumpy farmer can't sleep, won't rest. Angry at the land he sows. Every seed feels like a test. Frustration only grows. Neighbor in the next field smug. City boys buying plots. Living off the land ain't no joke. Sweating blood kettle hot. Machines break, wheels fall off. Hands blistered, back so sore. Wishing for better times long gone. Dusty boots through the door. Grumpy farmer can't sleep, won't rest. Angry at the land he sows. Every seed feels like a test. Frustration only grows. Grumpy farmer can't sleep, won't rest. Angry at the land he sows. Every seed feels like a test. Frustration only grows. Frustration only grows.
Next on the Super Gringo podcast, we're diving into a world where logic meets chaos. Yes, you guessed it, my friendship with the infamous Grumpy Farmer. But here's a question for you. Why do some people seem more interested in throwing shade than engaging in real conversation? Let's unravel this mystery together.
Yo, listen up! This book is a game changer, fam. It's packed with insane tips for tactical training like, wow, meet Sean Armstrong, a total legend with over 40 years of experience. This dude served in the military for 23 years, like, whoa. You know why this matters? Because stress exposes your base skills. This book preps you for serious real-world situations. Don't sleep on it. Learn crazy self-defense moves that actually work when it counts. Because nobody wants to be caught lacking, am I right? Elevate your baseline. That's the vibe we're going for, folks. Train hard, stay ready, should be your motto. So what are you waiting for? Grab this book now and gear up.
I didn't take any screenshots of their comments because I have a good understanding of how certain individuals on the far left tend to operate. Their arguments and discussions can often be unpredictable and emotionally charged, which can lead to misrepresentations or exaggerated claims. By choosing not to document their comments in that way, I am to avoid engaging in potentially inflammatory exchanges or contributing to misunderstandings that might arise from selective quoting their statements. This approach allows me to maintain a more objective perspective while navigating conversations that may become contentious. I considered utilizing the comments they made in their screenshots as evidence to support my position. However, I realized that doing so could lead to complications, as they might escalate the situation by filing a complaint with YouTube regarding my content or actions. If that were to happen, it could result in a negative consequence for me, such as receiving a warning or ding on my account, which would affect my standing on the platform. Therefore, instead of pursuing that route, I decided to directly address and quote their foolishness of their statements. This approach allowed me to highlight their misguided arguments without risking repercussions from YouTube. So, what is it about my friends that attracts, let's say, a unique crowd? Is it his no-nonsense approach, or perhaps his relentless ability to call out nonsense? Either way, I've invited some of these folks over today for a little chat. Spoiler alert, they didn't show up. They never do. They're tagged in the description every time I go live, so they don't have an excuse. Let's kick things off with this gem regarding Kamala Harris. One commenter said, "What are you going to say when Trump loses to a woman, a black woman?" Now hold on there. This is for you, John, who slept through civics class, I guess. Did you know that in some elections, the person who wins the popular vote doesn't actually become president? Surprising, right? Today, we're diving deep into a system that shapes our democracy, the Electoral College. Buckle up as we unravel this unique process, how this unique process works, and why it matters. The Electoral College isn't just a fancy term, it's a vital part of our presidential election process. It's not a place. First off, it's not an actual location, but rather a process outlined in our Constitution. Each state selects electors based on its number of congressional representatives. This includes both senators and House members. These electors gather to cast their votes for president and vice president. Finally, Congress counts these votes. The system was designed as a compromise between direct popular voting by citizens and congressional selection. Each state has as many electors as its members in Congress. Total electors, 538, including Washington, D.C.'s 3. But how are these electors chosen? Each state's political parties pick their own slate of potential electors. The method varies from state to state. Some have long-standing traditions, while others more recent changes. 1. When you vote for president, your choice contributes to their state's tally. 2. In all 48 states plus D.C., whoever wins the most votes gets all that state's electoral votes. Only Maine and Nebraska use proportional systems. To clinch victory, candidates need at least 270 electoral votes, more than half. And here's where it gets interesting. Have you ever heard about someone winning the popular vote but losing the presidency? It's happened before. Notably, in 2016, Donald Trump, in 2000, and 3 times back in the 1800s. But what if no candidate secures enough electoral votes? Well, then things get spicy. The decision goes to the House of Representatives. This has occurred twice before. 1, after Thomas Jefferson's election in 1800, and 2, following John Quincy Adams' election in 1824. Understanding how this system works helps us grasp why every single vote matters, even if it feels like just one among millions. So next time you're at a polling station or discussing politics with friends, remember, the Electoral College shapes outcomes. It can lead to unexpected results and ultimately influences who leads our nation. So there you have it, a peek behind the curtain at America's unique way of selecting its representatives through the Electoral College. They didn't mention intelligence, they didn't mention a single positive accomplishment, just skin color and gender. Which is funny, for almost a decade, the loony left couldn't tell you what a woman was. Most of us could care less about gender or skin color. We just wish she wasn't an idiot. Next up, we have another classic. Trump fanboy mania. Seriously? We like money. Money translates into food and basic necessities. Prices have skyrocketed by an average of 40%. And then there are those who copy and paste their arguments straight from Democratic Party talking point web pages without any critical thought. Are we living in an era where facts are optional? As supporters of Harris and Walz rally behind their leaders, most claims about accomplishments over the past 3.5 years are surfacing. But how much of this is genuine achievement versus scripted rhetoric? Let's start with the narrative being pushed by Harris and Walz supporters. Many assertions seem to come straight from the Democratic Party's website, lacking independent analysis or critical thought. This raises a critical question. Are these claims genuinely reflective of progress? Many statements echo party lines rather than individual achievements. Have you noticed similar patterns in political messaging? Share your thoughts on Skype and chat or comment later. Next up is President Biden's cognitive health, a topic that has sparked heated debate. If supporters can overlook this evident decline, why should we trust their assessments regarding their own job performance? And then there's Tim Walz. His assertion of holding the rank of Command Sergeant Major has raised eyebrows. Here's the catch. It was conditional and lasted only 11 days. That's right, from May 5th to May 16th, 2005. It was a conditional promotion. If there wasn't a drill, then he never wore that rank during drills, which raises questions about authenticity. And generally, the only people who support him have never worn the uniform. Of course, they always bring up Donald Trump's bone spurs. Donald Trump has never lied about his service. He will tell you he never served in the military. However, something to think about, there's J.D. Vance, and there's Tim Walz. One of those two has an Iraq campaign medal. You guess which one. If he can manipulate such a key aspect of his identity, what else might be subject to distortion? We deserve transparency and honesty from our leaders. As constituents, we await a genuine response rather than rehearsed platitudes. What do you think constitutes true transparency in politics? Let us know in Skype, chat, or comment later. While accomplishments are often touted by political figures like Harris and Walz, it's essential that we dig deeper into these claims and hold them accountable for honesty and integrity. The American Rescue Plan saved us. It dumped $1.9 trillion into an overheated economy, causing record inflation. They claim Biden created 15 million jobs, but let's break that down. Imagine shutting down people's businesses in 2020, them laying off their employees in 2021, then reopening their businesses in 2022, then calling it record job growth in 2023. Actual figures suggest only around 137,000 jobs per month were created, which were pre-pandemic forecasts. Of course, there was recently an adjustment of minus 800,000 jobs, so take those jobs away from the 137,000 per month. Households lost $2,000 monthly under Biden, yet they say household wealth is at an all-time high. It's clear that many live in a fantasy world where facts take a backseat to feelings, and that leads us down dangerous paths. Ever walked into a party just as the conversation gets heated? Meet Ron, our friend who arrived late to Grumpy's comment section. What he stumbled into was more than just small talk. It was an explosive discussion about Trump, the cackling dingus, and how she has no accomplishments. The loony left like to use fabrication that Trump's economy was so great because of Obama. Claims of job creation often rely on questionable math. Saved jobs are nearly impossible to verify. Supporters of Obama love to flaunt his economic stimulus bill, claiming it saved millions of jobs, but can we trust those numbers? Congressman Steve Stockman argues that objective measurements show we might be worse off now than under Bush. Under Obama, job creation fell short. To return to pre-recession levels by December 2016, we needed over 321,000 jobs created monthly, and yet only 195,000 were added last month. That's like aiming for a touchdown but only getting a field goal. Labor force participation under Bush averaged 66.2%. Under Obama, it was an alarming 63.5%. And let's not forget, labor force participation rates, a key indicator of workforce health, dropped significantly during Obama's tenure. Perhaps most concerning is how unemployment impacted minority communities. Black unemployment peaked at 13.7% under Obama. Hispanic unemployment remained high despite winning votes from these communities. And while some celebrate Obama's withdrawal from Iraq as a success, violence surged afterwards. Plus, over 300 scandals plagued his administration throughout 2 terms. Tax cuts led to significant growth. Unemployment rates hit record lows across demographics. But hold up, enter Donald Trump, the man who claims credit for record low unemployment rates among African Americans, 5.9%, Hispanics 4.5%, and women 3.6%. Could this be due to his tax cuts and deregulation policies? The recovery may have been slow since the Great Recession, but it's also one of the longest expansions in U.S. history. We've added over 14 million jobs, even as baby boomers retire en masse. So what did Ron learn when he finally joined the conversation? It's crucial to look beyond headlines to understand both sides before forming conclusions about our economy. Have you ever heard someone say that voting for certain candidates is like signing up for tax debt slavery or even worse? I quote, "You can be sure that a vote for Donnie Chimpo or cackling Kamala is a vote for tax debt slavery, perpetual war, genocide, human trafficking, all the useless alphabet agencies, etc. Keep watching the show and sitting on your ass. Well, buckle up because we're about to unpack some serious claims about politics, human trafficking, and what it all means for you." This phrase suggests an overwhelming burden of taxes that trap citizens. How much of this is reality versus rhetoric? Perpetual war and genocide. Under Trump, there was no new wars. Under Trump, there was no American casualties in Afghanistan for a record 18 months. Now, on to one of the most shocking claims, human trafficking through Border Patrol. Under the Biden-Harris open border policy, children are sent to live with relatives who may not have their best interests at heart. And I say relatives. The process. Children arriving at the border often come with a phone number to supposed relatives. Border Patrol calls the relative. And when they call, the trafficker says, "Sure, I'm Uncle so-and-so." They put him on a bus to go live with the Uncle so-and-so. But what happens next can be chilling. And then there's Trump's infamous clash with intelligence agencies. Some believe this is part of a larger struggle against corruption. Did Trump really stand alone against powerful forces trying to control him? The FBI didn't raid anybody else's house. Our friend ends with a cheeky remark about sitting on your ass. Ironically, isn't that exactly what he seems to be doing? Are we all just spectators in this political drama? It begs the question, what actions are you taking? 3 out of 4 people who Trump hired in his first administration publicly state they will not be voting for Trump. They also state no one else should either. Those are Republicans who were hired by Trump. Yes, and those never Trump or rhinos were also fired by Trump. But before we get into it, let me ask you this. What happens when rhinos and career politicians meet a reality TV star turned president? Spoiler alert, it's not pretty. So grab your popcorn as we explore this political soap opera filled with plot twists, betrayals, and more than a few eye rolls. First up, let's talk about our main character, the Never-Trumpers. Who are they? Imagine a group of conservatives who decided that supporting a man whose economic policies raised money quicker than their thoughts was just not their style. They proclaimed that they would never support him. But guess what? Their principled stand didn't save them from being tossed aside like last week's leftovers once Trump took office. Being a career politician and knowing connected people doesn't always lead to political survival. Swimming against the tide in shark-infested waters can be, well, fatal. Multiple baseless impeachments, multiple questionable charges. It's almost poetic how they thought they could survive backstabbing and conniving behind the president's back. Next up on our cast list, rhinos. Yes, those Republicans in name only, who only worry about their donors, much like the Democrats. You know the type, occasionally agreeing with Democrats on health care or climate change. Being a Republican under Trump means unwavering loyalty for your constituents. Party loyalty, forget it. Trump made it clear, if you weren't on board with his latest successes or you were questioning his successful policies, well, congratulations. You needed to go. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the Great Purge. Is there an actual plan behind all these firings, or were we just watching an elaborate game of political musical chairs? Loyalty is non-negotiable, so he fired him. This isn't just politics, it's cutthroat survival. Seems like there might be some bizarre versions of Survivor happening here, but without any tropical beaches or million-dollar prizes. Just cozy seats kept warm for die-hard supporters, while anyone who dares question gets booted into oblivion. At the end of this wild ride through political absurdity, it's hard not to chuckle at how former allies have turned into bitter foes, like watching a Shakespearean tragedy unfold, but with way more tweets and fewer soliloquies. Trump warned that he could deploy active or National Guard troops to counter the enemy from within. 41 out of 44 Trump's cabinet members have not endorsed him. Does this not trouble you? Regarding immigration, one part of the answer is to verify every worker in the U.S. This is Mr. Me. No abortions, so we have a strong workforce. Come on now. Make women and young girls have babies they can't take care of. While people will say you choose to have that kid, and I'll take care of it. No WIC or child care, etc. No Big Brother help. God help us if everyone stops thinking and watches Fox News. Imagine waking up to the news that your city is burning over $2 billion worth of damage. That's not just numbers, that's businesses lost, livelihoods destroyed, and tragically 25 lives taken. How do we respond? Do we let these events unfold unchecked? Some argue that deploying the National Guard is essential when violence escalates beyond control. But what does this mean for our freedoms? Are we fighting against enemies within our own borders? And if so, who exactly are they? Let's get real. If you support acts of violence against innocent people for political gain, can you really distance yourself from being labeled a terrorist? It's a tough pill to swallow, but one worth considering. Now, let's pivot to immigration, a topic that divides us more than any other. Some say we need a million more workers flooding into our country. But do we even need them? We have current workforce capabilities. We have a welfare system that has employment potential, and we have which is an alternative to mass immigration. Now we have abortion, an emotionally charged topic that needs clarity. Instead of focusing solely on access or restriction, shouldn't we tackle the root causes? Education on birth control, addressing societal issues leading to unwanted pregnancies. And speaking of divisive topics, why do some folks keep bringing up Fox News like it holds all the answers? Spoiler alert, it doesn't. The importance of critical thinking over media consumption is more important. We've tackled some heavy issues from national security and terrorism to immigration and reproductive rights and how they intertwine with personal responsibility. Another great quote, "Terrorists raise prices. Vote carefully." Have you ever wondered why, if tariffs are so bad for our economy, President Biden has chosen to keep them? What's the deal here? Are we missing something crucial? Today we're diving deep into the controversial topic that affects us, all of us. So buckle up, this is going to be an eye-opener. First things first, what exactly are tariffs? Tariffs are taxes imposed on imported goods. Their purpose: they aim to protect domestic industries from foreign competition and generate revenue for the government. But here's where it gets interesting. Tariffs have been used throughout history as tools for economic strategy. They can lead to higher prices for consumers, but also encourage local production. Need another beer. There we go. I'm hoping that works. But so you can go video or whatever on the show, or audio if you want. Okay, this one I might have to read some names, but Grumpy and Jim sell hats and t-shirts and stickers. I write and sell books, so do me a favor. Watch the links are in the description. Go over and buy one of my books. They're good books. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. As much as I hate people, trust me, I know how to beat people up and stuff.
Yo, listen up! This book is a game changer, fam. It's packed with insane tips for tactical training like, wow, meet Sean Armstrong, a total legend with over 40 years of experience. This dude served in the military for 23 years, like, whoa. You know why this matters? Because stress exposes your base skills. This book preps you for serious real-world situations. Don't sleep on it. Learn crazy self-defense moves that actually work when it counts. Because nobody wants to be caught lacking, am I right? Elevate your baseline. That's the vibe.
Sleepless nights, they count in stacks while we break our backs in this hopeless trap. They fly high, high, we scrap the ground in this rigged game where we're bound. Silver spoons in the green mouths, we're lost in a maze, can't find a way out. They write the rules to benefit their own, leave us to suffocate in this danger zone. Tax the rich, make them feel our pain. No more free rides on our endless train. Take the gold, make it rain down here. Let them know our rage, feel our fear. Empty pockets while they buy new lands. We're just numbers, they don't understand. We hunger, we ache, we scream in vain while they laugh and toast in the champagne. Sick of lies, sick of their deceit. We march, we shout, we won't accept defeat. The towers they built on our broken bones will crumble down, we'll reclaim our thrones. Tax the rich, make them feel our pain. No more free rides on our endless train. Take the gold, make it rain down here. Let them know our rage, feel our fear. Tax the rich, make them feel our pain. No more free rides on our endless train. Take the gold, make it rain down here. Let them know our rage, feel our fear. Empty pockets while they buy new lands. We're just numbers, they don't understand. We hunger, we ache, we scream in vain while they laugh and toast in the champagne. Sick of lies, sick of their deceit. We march, we shout, we won't accept defeat. The towers they built on our broken bones will crumble down, we'll reclaim our thrones. Tax the rich, make them feel our pain. No more free rides on our endless train. Take the gold, make it rain down here. Let them know our rage, feel our fear.
All right, what's up? This part of the podcast is where I talk about taxing the rich. We're going to tax the rich, Kamala. We're going to tax the rich. They're going to pay their fair share. if you believe that, if you're a Democrat, I call Looney leftist because RFK was a Democrat. He was a classic liberal. I actually agreed with some of what he had to say. But if you're over here, let's call it Kamala over here. This is here's right hand. Right hand is conservative, sort of right of center. This is RFK, kind of left of center. And then you got Kamala way the fuck. I said I wasn't going to. I'm trying to speak up to my intellect, not sailor, but way over here, like left. Like if the world were actually flat, she'd fall off. But do you really believe that these people are going to tax their donors? A majority of the Democrat donors are rich. So if you believe that, you're probably not, we could probably cast you in a Sling Blade sequel. But time to try and sell some books. Jimmy and Grumpy they sell t-shirts and I sell books.
Liberte o guerreiro interior. Você está pronto para transformar sua vida através das artes marciais? Descubra The Warrior Espécie, uma série inovadora de 4 livros que redefine o karatê através da arte do Dragon Kenpo 2.0. Sua jornada começa aqui. Por mais de 35 anos, dediquei minha vida às artes marciais. Cada soco e chute é mais do que apenas um movimento. É uma lição de disciplina, filosofia e espiritualidade. Raízes históricas. Explore como as tradições antigas moldam as práticas modernas. Insights filosóficos. Mergulhe nos princípios por trás do Dragon Kenpo 2.0. Conexão mente-corpo e espírito. Aprenda como esses ensinamentos podem levar sua vida além do dojo. Construa sua base como nunca antes. Você está apenas começando? O livro 2 foi projetado com você em mente. Sistemas de autodefesa para cintos coloridas. Técnicas passo a passo para aumentar sua confiança. Exercícios essenciais. Domine os fundamentos e estabeleça as bases para o seu futuro como artista marcial. Imagine se capacitar com habilidades que duram a vida toda. Aprimore suas habilidades e confiança. Progredir para o livro 3 significa mergulhar mais fundo em técnicas avançadas. Técnicas de aprofundamento. Desafie-se com movimentos complexos. Exercícios de sparring. Eleve seu jogo e afie cada golpe. Sinta o poder interior enquanto incorpora a essência do Dragão Kenpo. Alcance a maestria como nunca antes. O livro 4 é onde tudo se encaixa. Abraça a maestria como nenhum outro. Certificação de ensino e treinamento de faixa preta. Transição de aluno para professor. Sistemas avançados de autodefesa. Prepare-se para cenários do mundo real com confiança. Torne-se parte de um legado transmitido de geração em geração. Ganhe não apenas uma faixa preta, mas honra e respeito. Acesso instantâneo só para você. Para nossa família brasileira e para todos os outros em todo o mundo, esses livros estão disponíveis digitalmente. Sem custo de envio significa acesso instantâneo em seu smartphone ou tablet. Faça o download agora e comece a criar seu próprio caminho do guerreiro hoje. Tome uma atitude agora. Esteja você procurando habilidades de autodefesa ou crescimento pessoal por meio de artes marciais, The Warrior Espécie que espera por você. O que significa ser um guerreiro para você? Compartilhe seus pensamentos nos comentários abaixo. Eu adoraria ouvir de você. Curta este post se você estiver pronto para embarcar nessa jornada. Compartilhe com amigos que anseiam por inspiração. Inscreva-se para obter mais informações sobre artes marciais e desbloqueie todo o seu potencial hoje. Comece sua transformação agora.
All right, question. Do you believe, tax the rich, that Kamala Harris is actually going to tax her actual donors? And I'll give you some names. Reed Hastings. Probably don't know who he is, do you? Netflix co-founder. Donated $7 million to Harris's campaign. You think he'll be taxed? Reid Hoffman, Linked co-founder. He gave $923,000 just this January. You think he's going to be sweating taxes? George Soros and Alex Soros. They both supported Harris. Melinda French Gates, Bill Gates' ex-wife, and Sheryl Sandberg, I don't know who Sandberg is, supported Harris. Vinod Khosla, he's a venture capitalist, he supported Harris. You think any of these people are going to be taxed? These are the people, they're all billionaires, or minimum millionaire, multi-millionaire. Do you think they're going to be taxed? And I don't remember when they run out. But the individual tax breaks that Trump got when he was in office, they run out soon because they weren't permanent. The corporate tax were permanent, which I think Congress had more to do with that than Trump, to be honest. But also Trump was a little busy dodging the loony left with their made-up impeachment attempts. Don't know how, why, and of course now, I think it was the second time when those tax breaks, he was doing the tax breaks, was the second impeachment attempt. But if you want to talk about unfair taxes, billionaires make up 0.6% of America's population out of 345 million people. They pay 46% of all the income tax. 0.6%. Pay almost half of the income tax. And then we have the so you're screaming tax the rich, but you're already taxing them. I mean, you could say no more, tax abatements and stuff like that, to bring in factories and stuff, but okay. But you can't really tax them. I mean, you could tax them like, 80 or 90%, they'll just leave. But then there's like the top 10% pay 72% of all the income taxes. So that means, like, you didn't think you're broke as, Again, I'm trying to speak up to my intellect. You don't believe the the bottom earners were paying all those taxes, right? The government is not going to tax these people anymore. They'll take donations. You should be asking yourself, how does I have the number here of what they make per year. I'm looking for what a senator makes per year. Okay, average salary for a U.S. congressman, $174,000 a year. How do they become millionaires? I have a couple hints. I'll give you a couple names: Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, it's called insider trading. They make the laws that influence the stock market, and then they trade based on those laws. Joe Biden sold his office to countries like China, Uzbekistan, Russia, Ukraine. So that's how they become millionaires. It's a book deal. You really think people are buying those books? I don't think Nancy Pelosi's sober long enough to write a book. And instead of, worrying about who they're taxing, the most, because personally I believe everybody's overtaxed. How about we start worrying about where they're spending the money? Wouldn't that be a better cause than worrying about how many taxes I'm paying, or a billionaire, or Bill Gates, or Elon Musk, or Donald Trump are paying? How about you worry about what the government is doing? Why are they millionaires on a six-figure salary? So the U.S. national debt is over $31 trillion. Annual waste in federal spending estimates up to $200 billion. Let me see. The common areas of waste are inefficient programs, fraud, and mismanagement, which is pretty much the government. So instead of focusing on what everybody's paying in taxes, how about we figure out, and it's more than $200 billion. I worked for the government. Holy crap. How about we demand accountability from the government? Why are we sending billions to Ukraine? I've never been to Ukraine. Have you been to Ukraine? I haven't been to Ukraine. Do you know what an M1 tank costs? That's $8 million. We sent 32 of those to Ukraine. Half of them are already destroyed because they don't know how to use them. Jimmy and I know how to use them. They don't. So here's what we need: transparency in government spending. So here's what you can do to make a difference. Okay, engage with local representatives. Ask tough questions. Participate in community forums. Share your concerns. Advocate for audits, especially the Pentagon and maybe definitely the Fed. Push for regular checks on government budgets. Do you realize the government hasn't passed a budget? They keep passing what they call it, supplemental spending bills. They haven't passed a budget in years. Let's take a look at other countries that tackled this issue head on. For instance, Scandinavian countries. They're not socialist, by the way. They have high taxes but high transparency. Singapore, efficient public services with low corruption. The bottom line is clear. We need a paradigm shift instead of getting lost in who pays what in taxes. How about we worry about where they're spending our taxes? I don't believe welfare should be our biggest budget item at $1.03 trillion, and that's in 2016 money. That's not even 2024 money. It's gone up exponentially because we also pay welfare to illegals, illegals cost the government $68,000 a year. We just let in a conservative estimate 8 million illegals. If you do the math, that's $500 billion. Okay, so we just added $1 trillion to our welfare budget. So now it's what, $2 trillion? Way to go, people. Voting has consequences, so you need to look at those numbers. And as far as taxing the rich, I think we tax them enough, really. At 46%, they make up 0.6 of the population, and they're paying 46% of the income tax. Are you kidding? Me, I'm in favor of a flat tax, a flat consumption tax. The more you spend, like if you buy a Ferrari, you're going to pay more tax on that, obviously. Say 10%. I don't know what a Ferrari costs because I've never even actually been in the same room with one. But a consumption tax. The more you spend, the more you on everything. Then you get rid of all this state and federal tax, all these loopholes. You just have a flat tax. Of course, then the rich will buy from. Then you put tariffs. That's when tariffs would work great because you put higher tariffs on goods than you would the flat tax. And that would dissuade people from buying from foreign sellers. Skype is still open. You can So you can talk to me directly on Skype. That's that window on the right. That is, you go to the link I put in chat, log in, and you can do audio or you can do video. If you don't want to do video, you just don't turn on the camera. Who else is tired of hearing made-up Vietnam stories? Have you ever hunted men? Yes, Jesse, I have. You haven't. In this video, I'm addressing the lies surrounding military service, particularly focusing on Jesse Ventura. We'll explore what's true, what's not, and why it matters. Before we jump in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more insightful content. Let's get started. First off, let's talk about stolen valor. This term refers to individuals who falsely claim military service honors they didn't earn. In many countries, including the U.S., it's illegal to falsely claim military honors. Real veterans often feel disrespected when someone exploits their sacrifices for personal gain. That's why Walls should never get a vote from a single veteran, and is probably why Ventura endorsed him like I care. Now, a commercial break from our sponsor. Again, Grumpy and Jim sell t-shirts and stickers. I write and sell books. Go get yourself a copy.
Am I the only one who didn't know this? Becoming a pro shooter isn't just about pulling the trigger, it's about mastering every aspect of self-defense. In tactical training with firearms, Sean Armstrong takes you beyond the basics. From choosing the perfect self-defense firearm and holster to honing your shooting skills, this book covers it all. Sean's lifelong dedication to self-defense shines through as he breaks down the essentials like ammunition selection, close quarters combat techniques, and integrating combatives into your training. But that's not all. He even dives into the nitty-gritty of today's firearm and gear options, helping you make smart purchase decisions tailored to your lifestyle. The best defense is being prepared, and with Sean Armstrong's expertise, you'll be ready to protect yourself and your loved ones in any situation. So, are you ready to transform from a sheep to a sheepdog? Grab your copy now and start your journey to becoming a proficient shooter today. Because when it comes to self-defense, knowledge is your greatest weapon.
Now, let's break down Jesse Ventura's military history. He served as a member of the Underwater Demolition Team UDT-12 before Navy SEALs were officially formed. While he did serve honorably, there are discrepancies regarding his claims about Vietnam service. Unlike recognized combat veterans such as Chris Kyle, Ventura lacks key awards like the Combat Action Ribbon, which he received for being under direct enemy fire in a combat zone. The Philippines was not a combat zone. When comparing service records, it becomes clear how significant these distinctions are. Chris Kyle was awarded multiple Silver Stars and a Combat Action Ribbon, medals that signify extraordinary bravery under fire. St. Paul, Associated Press. Governor Jesse Ventura, who has used his military record to deflect criticism and bash foes, but has kept mostly mum on what he did during the Vietnam War, has disclosed for the first time that he did not see combat. To the best of my knowledge, I was never fired upon, Ventura said in an interview with the St. Paul Pioneer Press for an article published Monday about his years as a Navy SEAL in the 1970s. To the best of his knowledge. Well, let me clear up his knowledge. If you've been fired upon, you would know it. However, why would someone be shooting at you in the Philippines? Ventura has suggested in an interview with the Star Tribune of Minneapolis last year that he had hunted men, but wouldn't give details then or now. And he has steadfastly refused to disclose much about his 2 overseas deployments, which totaled 17 months, saying his commanding officer gave their unit strict orders never to talk about what they had seen or done. Ventura had never specifically claimed to have fought in Vietnam. I was watching a video where he specifically said he was in Vietnam and couldn't even buy a beer, and somehow someone asked him for ID to buy some wine, which triggered his PTSD. Based at Subic Bay in the Philippines, when he was still known as James Janos, Ventura earned the Vietnam Service Medal. It was awarded to 3 million servicemen and servicewomen who were in Vietnam and surrounding countries or on ships off the coast. In what the Pioneer Press described as a combative 90-minute interview, Ventura refused to say whether he served in-country, offshore, or both. Ventura did not receive the Combat Action Ribbon, which was awarded to those involved in a firefight or who went on clandestine or special operations where the risk of enemy fire was great or expected. While Ventura often brags about his SEAL background and some of his exploits while training in the Philippines as a member of Underwater Demolition Team 12, he refused to say what he did to earn his Vietnam Service Medal. He also refused to reveal which platoon and which detachments he was in during UDT-12, information that would allow reporters to find out about his missions in public documents. You can file, all military records are public records. You can file a FOIA request using their name and years of service. So they could still get at least his medals in what schools he attended. You don't have a right to know about the teams, he told the Pioneer Press. Ventura's former commanding officer, Robert Peterson, said he's not in a position to enforce his old order for silence. He noted that other former frogmen have written dozens of books and magazine articles, but he also backed Ventura's decision to remain silent. Larry Bailey, former lieutenant commander of the UDT-12 and Ventura's former executive officer, scoffed at the notion there is any reason for Ventura to be silent, though he apparently didn't know details of what Ventura might have done. We did routine stuff, Bailey said. If he is pleading no comment now because of something Bob Peterson said, he's misleading you. There is nothing he could tip off 30 years later. He's sensitive about something. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was that he wanted to get into combat. He didn't get the combat ribbon. That's nothing to be ashamed of. It's not, but lying about combat experience is. Jesse Ventura wasn't technically a SEAL until all the UDT units were finally rolled into the SEALs in 1983. These distinctions aren't just trivial, they reflect heroism and sacrifice that real combat veterans embody. Now let's tackle potential backlash from supporters who may defend these figures blindly. Some might argue, but facts don't lie. Military records are public documents that can be verified. I understand that many admire Ventura for his political views or persona. However, admiration shouldn't cloud our judgment when it comes to integrity and claiming military service. To sum it up, while Jesse Ventura has had an interesting life both in and out of uniform, we must hold ourselves accountable when discussing our heroes' legacies. Misrepresentation undermines genuine sacrifice. If you found this video enlightening or thought-provoking, please give us a thumbs up. Share your thoughts below. What do you think about the importance of accurate military representation? And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. I'm going to leave this open for a bit because I was going to end the show, but I have Skype open. Anybody can come and talk to me. This was actually the end of the show, and yeah, I'm almost 2 hours, but I have Skype open. That's that window on the right side of the screen. You're more than welcome. Let me see if I can fix that. More than welcome to come talk to me on Skype. I put the link in the chat. Desculpe means sorry in Portuguese. Which I'll be speaking next month, next podcast, next week. Talking about, actually telling Brazilians how we celebrate Halloween in America. They don't celebrate it like we do here. But people can ask me any question now. Skype, that's that window on the right. I have the link in chat. You can go over, call, or go into the room and call, either video or audio, and you'll be on the podcast. That's why I'm keeping this open. You have the chance to ask me any questions live or in chat, and I'll answer it. Now, I wish I had other people's Skype, because I could contact them and we could have discussions. Especially the people that, the ones I call Grumpy's special friends. I always tag them in the description so they know I'm live. They know I'm here. They have the chance to, destroy me or do what they think they can do, which, all right. But bring your A game, because I always do. There we go. There's the link. I almost thought of one night doing but nobody cares. I've lived a life that most of you would dream of. I have books about it, which is what I've been trying to sell in 2 languages, by the way. I have in Brazilian Portuguese and English. The Brazilian Portuguese ones I only have an ebook because shipping books here, for sale, astronomical for customs and all that stuff. Wife and I are making chili in a Brazilian crock pot, which we have to keep setting to an hour over and over and over. So it will, I want to cook it overnight, so the meat, it's Texas chili, so the meat soaks up the juices. So waiting for someone to call. Whatever twin cam is. Okay. Or even chat. You could chat and then we can. But yeah, I think I have the best music of any podcast on the internet. Those are all originals, by the way. They're not copyrighted. Maybe at the end of the podcast season, I'll come out with an album or a double album. Who knows? I definitely like The Grumpy Farmer. Something, is that the, hold on. My air conditioner's making funny noises. Had a lot of rain today in Brazil. Need it a lot. Hopefully it got down south where they're having the fires. That's why in the section on crop prices, I mentioned Brazil coffee and sugar prices are going to go up. Actually, I think they've already started. They've started here, but this is local for us. I don't know if you're seeing it. Let me know if you're seeing coffee and sugar prices going up a lot, because they grow it in Brazil and they lost. I think I talked about it last week. Like hundreds of thousands of hectares, which I don't know what a hectare. It's a little bigger than an acre, but. So I'm here for questions. For those of you that don't know why I sell the books, I'm a certified master firearms instructor, certified combat shooting instructor. I was an executive protection specialist. I hold a 4th degree black belt in karate, and those are my 4 books are out. Karate. That's actually my notebook. I started that notebook when I was 13, and I just finally published it. I still train here in Brazil. I'm just not the whirling dervish I used to be at 56 years old. Matter of fact, I probably should put a video up on my karate page too, because I was thinking about a topic. That's how things happen. I get a topic in my head. Thanks to speech to text, when I get an idea now, I get the idea. I can sit down and just hammer speech to text, and the idea comes out. And next week, I actually speak Portuguese. I think I said that. Tell Brazilians about how we celebrate Halloween. What else am I talking about next week? Oh, the threat by the Democrats to not certify Trump's election if he wins. If he doesn't win, just turn the lights off when you guys are done. Save on electric, because it's pretty pricey nowadays. Again, Skype is open, and I'm going to leave this open for a little bit. So if anybody wants to call or contact me, let me check my live stream. You're going to see my live stream come up, or the dashboard for my live stream come up on yeah, that's my live stream. Let's go back to trying to figure out, was I supposed to call people or something? I mean, it's open. I believe that's my wife's. Because we tested this before we used it. Hey, how you doing? I can't. Maybe it's the volume. You're actually on my podcast right now. All right, let me see if I can work with the volume or something. Speakers. All right, let me see. How does that work better? Hola? I think I hear my voice out in the living room. I'm testing this like live right now. So somebody's here. Hola. Okay, let me see if that's working. Okay. It's weird. I didn't. Yeah, I rang my wife to see if this was working, but I can't hear her. She said hello. I don't know if it came over the. I can hear it in the headphones, but it was really, really low. Check the switchboard. Maybe, yeah, maybe I need to play with the. Okay, let's see, audio 400. Audio output capture. Audio input capture. Testing, 1, 2. Still can't hear me? Well, that's the best you're going to get. Yes, I love testing stuff on the fly. What I want, let's see, properties. That would be great if, so I guess you can hear, I could hear you over the, I should have her talk to me to see if I can hear her. I think I could hear her clear. But, well, it's 2 hours, 10 minutes, so I think I'm going to wrap this up. Hopefully I put out some good information. It was better than last week's podcast. I'm going to put this up on Spotify, and well, actually maybe I can get it on YouTube right now, or Facebook. But for those who did stop in, thanks. And for those who didn't, that I have you tagged in the description, you're cowards. So every time I see you on Grumpy's comment section and you start babbling, I'm just going to say you're a coward. You had your chance. So, boa noite, which means good night, and see you next week.
Boa noite.
Hear you fine. It's got to be me.